Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today for his second appearance on TezTalks is Max Wolfe, Senior Manager of Web3 and Digital Licensing at McLaren Racing. McLaren Racing, for those who might not know, officially launched the McLaren Racing Collective, a Tezos NFT-powered digital collectibles program back in October of 2021. This hugely successful partnership between McLaren Racing and Tezos is now well into its second year, and we figured it was high time for a check-in on the progress of this groundbreaking digital sports program thus far. On today's stream, we'll be giving away a McLaren hat autographed by F1 driver Oscar Piastri to one of our lucky viewers. If you'd like that lucky viewer to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And of course, if you have any questions for Max that you'd like me to ask, please add them in the chat at any time. We'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Max. How is summertime in London treating you?
Hey, Stu. Yeah, great to be back. All good. It's a beautiful summer. We've had our season's best result at our home Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, 2 weekends ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a really exciting race. We were at Goodwood Festival of Speed last weekend, 14 cars, 14 heritage cars, and then we go racing again this weekend in Hungary. So long days, warm weather, lots of racing. What could be better?
Right on. So since you already introduced yourself and walked us through your journey down the blockchain rabbit hole in your last appearance, maybe we can start out with you introducing the McLaren Racing Collective a little bit. Like, how would you describe the McLaren Racing Collective to people who ask you about it?
Yeah, so good question. Our goal with the program is really to take the power of Web3 and leverage that to bring all of our fans closer to the team and more connected to each other, and really like strengthen the bond between fans and the McLaren Racing team. Our goal is to create the most engaged motorsport Web3 community in the world. Right now, mostly the way we do this is through digital collectibles and also our Discord server, which is super active, by the way, and you and everyone listening should totally join discord.gg/McLaren. Sorry for the shill, but we've got a great community. I won't tell you who I am on there, but I'm on there. The other half of the McLaren Web3 team is on there, so you can come on, you can chat with us, talk directly to McLaren at any time, which is pretty cool. But overall, I think like the use cases for Web3 are constantly evolving, and there's going to be use cases beyond digital collectibles. And so while that's our focus right now, I don't want to say that's what the McLaren Racing Collective is limited to, because, you know, we want to stay nimble. We want to be constantly like exploring the cutting edge of Web3, and yeah, basically just seeing how this blockchain technology can help excite our fans and enhance their journey with the team.
Well, it makes sense to sort of remain nimble and not pin yourselves down, considering how quickly the space is evolving, right?
Exactly. So yeah, we're super excited, and yeah, can't wait to see like what we can do for the fans to make it feel special and cool.
Right on. So as far as what you've done so far, as you said, the focus has been on digital collectibles and NFTs. How many McLaren Racing NFTs have been minted and claimed since you and your team launched the project?
Yeah, a healthy amount, honestly. We've minted about 2 million tokens now since
Wow.
we've launched this project. Last year, we did a few thousand, and this year it's just taken off exponentially. So yeah, to all the naysayers out there, Web3 isn't dead, still very much alive and kicking.
Right on. What kinds of digital collectibles have you minted?
Man, we've done a bit of everything, honestly. If we look back at our first project, so that was back in October of 2021, we broke up our then Formula One car, the MCL35M, into 22 constituent parts. The parts were modeled off of authentic CAD data, literally like taken from our engineers and our aero department. And they were like 3D pieces that you could spin around and examine. They were really cool. And then fans could obviously collect all the parts, and the first 35 people were able to claim a full car. My favorite collectible program I think we did last year was called Kiwi's Caper. And basically our mascot is a kiwi bird, the Speedy Kiwi. And so we made a comic book about like his adventure traveling from the Singapore Grand Prix to the Japanese Grand Prix. And we released each page of the comic book as an NFT. And if you collected all the pages, then we sent you a physical version of the comic book.
Oh, wow.
Little surprise and delight. Some of the comic books were signed by our Formula One drivers as well. So yeah, that was just a really fun project. We actually put comic book panels from the comic on the car, like as stickers during the Japanese Grand Prix. I believe that was the first time any NFT artwork had ever been on a Formula One car. So that was super exciting to do. And then this year we've got a new program. It's called 23 of 23. It's meant to pay homage to the 23 races in the Formula One calendar this year, which is 2023. So 23 of 23. And yeah, every race weekend, fans can head over to our collectibles.mclaren.com site. They can snag basically a new race poster, which is unique for that location. And it's totally free to collect. You don't even pay gas. And yeah, there's a gamification element as well. So by collecting them all, you're eligible to win a race experience next year. And there's also mini collections too. So like if you collect all the street circuits or all the classic circuits, then you can be in with a chance to win some like signed driver merch. And also, even if you connect your wallet, which holds any 23 of 23 tokens, to our Discord server, you get extra entries in our prize giveaway there too. So yeah, bit long answer, but big variety of tokens have come through our program so far.
Very cool. So, out of those sort of series that you've launched so far, which has been the most successful in your view?
So, I mean, it depends how you define success, right? Like in terms of token minted, it's obviously 23 of 23. At the current pace we're going, I expect that from that program alone, we're going to mint 3 million tokens by the end of the racing season, which is massive. But like, if you use another metric, and you go back and look at our first drops, those were really amazing for creating community. And like to this day, we still have a private channel of the holders from our first drop. And yeah, it's like they give us super valuable feedback and help steer the program a bit. So, and I know a lot of people from that drop have made connections amongst themselves and with each other. So yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how you define the drops, but they've all been really great. Oh, I think we've lost Stu. Should we give him a moment to see if he can come back? Or else I can just vamp out there to everyone in Tezos land. If only I had juggling balls or something to entertain you all with. All right, let's see if we can get Stu back on the line in a minute. Ah, there we go. He's back.
Oh man, I'm very sorry. We were having serious technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on there, but I am back.
It's all right. You saved everyone from my juggling or singing or something.
Let's all hope it doesn't happen again. So to get back into it, what has the response been like from McLaren Racing fans? Do they like what they've seen so far?
In short, yes. People have been loving it. We've had like some of our biggest diehard fans who are like super active that we never saw, participating in our Web3 program before. Now this year with the 23 of 23 program, they're getting pulled in. They're dipping their foot into the world of Web3 and Tezos. And I think like the fact that the collectibles in this program are free to claim is really important, because for people who haven't experienced Web3 yet, maybe they're a little skeptical, maybe, they haven't heard flattering things about it in the news or whatever. This is like a low risk way for them to get involved. And it's a fun way to do it as well, because, you have fans who, from the McLaren side, like they're already going to follow the team and watch the races. And now having a digital collectible along with that gives them something to show for all their efforts. It gives them like a beautiful visual representation of their fandom and their dedication to the team. So yeah, the response has been great. And I hope that we can keep doing stuff that the fans love like this.
Well, and so do I. Obviously, partnerships like these are a big deal for Tezos and our ecosystem. They offer kind of a unique opportunity to onboard new users and introduce them to what Tezos has to offer. How many new users have created Tezos wallets since your team launched the McLaren Racing Collective?
So from the data I have so far, we've seen about 400,000 people, 400,000 new wallets created to claim these collectibles. And yeah,
Wow.
it's growing with every release we do. We are at, here, I have the list here. We're about halfway through the releases that we're going to do in this program because we're about halfway through the Formula One season. So yeah, I hope it grows. I hope we smash the 1 million mark.
It's a very impressive number. Um, what has the response been like from sort of within the Tezos ecosystem? Like, has the community been supportive of what you're doing?
Yeah, super supportive. We've actually seen a really big influx of people from the Tezos community onto our Discord. So much so that we've seen the top 10 countries represented on our server shift. So we know like where McLaren and Formula One is super popular, and we know those countries, and we've seen new countries pop up, places like Ukraine, India, Vietnam, Nigeria, Indonesia, places where we typically don't see as many fans coming from. And so we can see this as like the influence of the Web3 community and the Tezos community. Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit tricky because we have like sort of half the people in our program are Web3 natives who are new to Formula One, and half the people are Formula One fans who are new to Web3. So sometimes there's a bit of a balance to communicate with both those groups. Half the people need to be explained how to open a wallet. Half the people think like it's, pandering. Oh, of course I would know how to open a wallet. Don't tell me that. But then they don't know, like, wait, why do I have to wait 2 weeks between when I can claim collectibles? Well, it's because there's 2 weeks between the races. So
Mm,
yeah, appealing to these or communicating to both of the groups can be a challenge, but it's all part of the fun.
absolutely, it's part of the fun. So you placed a big emphasis on offering utility to people who hold McLaren Racing NFTs. Can you talk a bit about what that utility looks like? What benefits can those that hold McLaren Racing NFTs expect to see moving forward?
Yeah, so with the 23 of 23 program, if you hold all 23 tokens at the end of the season, there's a snapshot date. Everyone who is eligible then gets placed into a raffle to win like an in-person race experience for next year. And then, as I said too, there's like the smaller collections. So if you collect all, 6 races that are street circuits or all of Lando's podium races, then you get entered into raffles to win driver sign merch. Usually when we talk about a physical utility, it's raffle based. We love chances when we can give all the holders a utility, but because of physical capacity restraints, that's why we usually have to do raffle based things when you talk about a physical utility. Like if
Of
we want
course.
to bring people on a tour of our headquarters, like we just can't fit 25,000 people in the factory. We're not a football team that has an arena.
Yeah.
We make cars. So we do try to give physical utility when we can, but it's raffle based. And then in terms of digital utilities, these can be things like that we can offer at scale. So we bring people onto calls with drivers. We've done calls with Zach before. We're looking at things like additional tokens, additional airdrops, maybe like some special artwork that we can send out to people, and then maybe even some potential unlocked experiences in digital spaces, which is something we can come on to. Those are the kinds of utilities people can expect.
Cool. I understand your team has another big NFT drop. You touched on it earlier, coming up in the near future. Can you give us a bit of a sneak peek into what's going to be on offer and when we can expect this to happen?
Yes. So sneak peek, exclusive look for you guys here on TezTalks. The drop is called McLaren Moments. and it's going to be a drop focused all around our heritage, our racing heritage. This year is our 60th birthday of McLaren, 60th anniversary since our founder, Bruce McLaren, started the team. And so we want to take this time to look back. Basically, what we did is we had our fans on the Discord server vote on their 3 favorite moments from each of the past decades, from the 60s up to the 2010s. And then we took images from these moments and we've created a sort of like commemorative stamps out of them. I know no one sends letters anymore, but hopefully everyone remembers what a postage stamp is. So yeah, we've done that, sort of an old meets new. They're postage stamps, but they're NFTs. You can collect them all at collectibles.mclaren.com, the same place that the 23 of 23 release is are released at. It's going live next week on Tuesday, July 25th. And there's a pretty cool gamification behind it. Each stamp is grouped into a rarity tier. So there's common, rare, and ultra rare stamps. And you're going to buy packs of 3 stamps, and you're not going to know what's inside. It's going to be random. And if you complete a full collection of the common stamps, then you earn a utility. If you complete the full collection of the rare stamps or the ultra rare stamps, then you earn more utilities. You'll be able to trade amongst the secondary market to complete your collection. There'll be a snapshot date a couple weeks after the primary sale, where we'll take the snapshot and see who's eligible for the prizes. So sort of a heritage trading card, trading stamp NFT release.
Very interesting. This is all great stuff so far, aside from the technical problem we had. I'm excited to learn more, but before we dive deeper, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Great. Just before we do that, I'd like to announce the keyword for the Oscar Piastri autographed McLaren hat we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !racing. Enter the keyword !racing in the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winner, who will announce before the end of the stream. Okay, now, Max, it is lightning round time. Sorry?
Can I enter this giveaway? I want that.
You can try. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sunday roast, in the pub or home cooked?
On a Sunday, I want to relax, sit back. It's got to be in the pub.
Do you drive a McLaren?
I wish. When I interviewed, I asked the guy how big the staff discount was on the McLaren. It's not enough for me.
Fair enough. What is your favorite city?
Bangkok. I went to high school there, so I've got a lot of great memories growing up there and a lot of friends there still. Yeah,
Very
number
cool.
1.
Assuming racing is number 1, what is your second favorite sport?
It's got to be basketball. I'm a huge LA Lakers fan. I grew up watching Kobe Bryant, huge Kobe fan. Yeah.
Very
NBA.
cool. True or false? Money buys happiness.
So, okay, I don't think money buys happiness. Like if you're sad and you get rich, you're still going to be sad. But I think money can enable you to do things which will bring happiness, right? Enable you to spend more time with your friends and family.
Or buy a McLaren.
Or buy McLaren. That would make me ecstatic. So I think money can be an enabler for sure.
That's fair. Name one thing you absolutely want to do before you die.
I want to restore a classic car. Yeah,
Very
I don't
good
know how
answer.
to do that yet, full disclosure, but I want to learn and I want to do it.
That's fair. The last place you traveled was?
It was Portugal for the Blockdown Festival. I don't know if anyone listening was at Blockdown or saw me or spoke to me there, but yeah, great event.
Very cool. In 5 words or less, how would your best friend describe you?
5 words or less, I think lots of weird hobbies. Yeah. I like to grow tropical plants and I like to play the Irish banjo. Yeah, some niche interests.
Awesome. And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Favorite thing to do on a rainy day. Recently, it's been playing Sonic Frontiers, the new Sonic game that came out. Yeah, big Sonic fan.
Fabulous. Thank you. Those were excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. The last time we spoke, you were a relative newcomer to the Tezos NFT space, and I'm curious, now that you've been operating in this space as a specialist representing a major sporting brand for the better part of 2 years, what are your impressions? Like, what has this journey been like for you?
So my impression of like the Tezos community, Tezos space is actually that people are really supportive, really enthusiastic. What's impressed me most is the variety of projects that is like in the ecosystem. So I love how, there's big projects from brands like ourselves, Man United, but then there's also gaming projects and music NFTs, which I'm super interested in and have just really started to dig into, as well as all of the amazing independent art and artists that Tezos is kind of famous for, I guess. And that's something that I really want us to get more involved in as McLaren with our Web3 project. I want to do some more collabs with some ecosystem artists and just try and do some really cool, interesting visual stuff that no one's seen before that gets people excited.
Excellent. Having been involved in every step of taking the McLaren Racing collective from conception to reality, what has surprised you the most in that process?
So what has surprised me the most is probably just how detail oriented you have to be to get a Web3 project done right. I mean, there's so many small things from, from working like with a professional sporting organization. There's a lot of IP challenges, and with who owns what IP. Is it us as the team? Is it the track? Is it Formula One as the like league? And a lot of these questions haven't been asked before because NFTs and Web3 is still so relatively new. So there's a lot of sort of like pushing the envelope and asking difficult questions that haven't been answered before, all the way down to when you're doing a project and you're writing the metadata, that's set in stone once you hit publish. So making sure that everything is just right. That was surprising to me, just how detail oriented you have to be to get it right.
Okay. And in your experience here in the Tezos ecosystem, what do the ecosystem and the community do well for a Web3 marketing team like the McLaren Racing Collective?
So I think something that's really strong and also has been a key to the 23 of 23 program success has been like ease of use and ease of onboarding for non-Web3 natives. So if you go on our collectibles site, and let's say you're a Web3 native, you go on the top, click connect, create free Tezos wallet, log in with Google, Facebook, Twitter, done. It's as easy as that. There's no seed phrase, there's no password, there's no like opening a wallet in another tab and signing, like authenticating a connection. Unless you want to do that and like connect an existing wallet, that's fine. Like if you're more familiar, you can. But for the new users, it's a super smooth process using Tezos, getting your first collectible. And I think that's been very powerful.
Well, that's hugely important when you're looking at onboarding people who aren't super familiar with this technology, where they can, in a couple of clicks, collect their first NFT and then they're in the door, right?
Exactly. It's got to be as easy as creating like a Web2 account or doing something in Web2. It's got to be that polished and that smooth to get like mass adoption.
What could the Tezos ecosystem be doing better? Like, what would you like to see more of from this community?
I mean, honestly, what I'd like to see more of, come hang out with us, come hang out with McLaren on our Discord. Don't only engage with us when we're doing Web3 drops, but like come hang out with our race watch alongs, come join our trivia nights. We have community game nights. The Tezos community is great.
Wow.
The Web3 community is great, but come have fun with the McLaren community too, because that's where the magic happens, like when we can bring both of these groups together.
Very cool. We spoke about the number of people that you've successfully onboarded into the Tezos ecosystem via the McLaren Racing Collective. And obviously, marketing plays a huge part in that. Can you talk a little bit about your team's approach to marketing in generating the amount of interest that you have so far? What have you been doing to spread the word about the McLaren Racing Collective?
Yeah, so I mean, you can see like when we do drops, you can see advertisements for that on like our Instagram stories, for example, Discord. One thing we've done is when you sign up to our loyalty program for like McLaren Plus, there's an option to select your interests. So you can choose like Formula One, IndyCar, esports. There's also a Web3 option. And so we've built like a list of that's over 6 figures of people who are interested in Web3. And we send people, we've got a monthly Web3 newsletter, and we also send out updates about more regularly about upcoming drops, what we're doing in the world of Web3. And yeah, that's been a really powerful tool, I think, to sort of spread the gospel about this project and get people excited.
Very cool. So moving forward, how will you build on the amazing progress that you've made so far? Like, what are your plans for marketing McLaren Racing Collective to the masses moving forward?
So I think basically it's doubling down on what we've seen work so far this year. So make sure that we focus on simple user acquisition, make sure that the process to engage and collect these collectibles is always simple and clear. Communication is key. That's something we've really learned. I think last year we had a couple of drops where it came from a place of us trying to push as much utility and as much like intricate gamification into the programs as possible. But the reality was that it was like it ended up being difficult to explain and hard for fans to get. So I think, keep it simple, keep it easy, and give fans ways to enhance experiences and behaviors that they already do. So that's why I think 23 of 23 has been so successful, because people are already watching the races. They're already following along with us. Now they have like a routine. Oh, I'm going to watch the race. I can also go claim my collectible that's available at the same time and document my fandom. So just building on that, like giving fans ways to enhance things that they already do. That's, I think, going to be pretty strong in building this program.
For sure. A similar experience to if you attended the race in person, you would probably grab a T-shirt or grab a hat or something to remember it by, right?
Exactly like that. It's a commemorative. I think like we spend so much time in the digital world, but we don't like think of collecting a digital inventory. So when, as you said, when we travel, we buy a fridge magnet, or when we go to an event, we grab a T-shirt. So we should do that digitally too. When we join a McLaren race watch along or watch a race, we should collect a token from it, and that token should have utilities, and it should be beautiful.
And they definitely are that. I'm particularly a personal fan of the 23 of 23 series. They're really nice.
Thanks.
What can people in the Tezos ecosystem do to support you and what you're doing? Like, how would you like to see us get involved, aside from joining the Discord and participating in the races, of course?
Yeah, I think when you claim a token, enter your email, and that will then subscribe you to our Web3 newsletter. So it really helps us out. It's the easiest way for us to see the interest in our program, and it's the easiest way for us to keep you all informed of what we're doing with Web3 at McLaren. And yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have cool ideas for the project. If there's something in the Tezos ecosystem that you think we should take a look at, be doing, collaborate with, I'm always happy to speak. You could also speak to me by opening a ticket on our Discord. So yeah, always happy to be reached out to, and just stay up to date with what we're doing. Follow along, claim our tokens.
Perfect. We have had an audience question come through. Sunset Sales would like to know, does McLaren Racing have any plans to do virtual races with McLaren NFTs?
So that is a great question, and something we've thought a lot about. basically I want to do this, but every program promises a game, and it's very rare that you see them deliver something good. So we want to take our time and make sure that when we do bring out a game, it lives up to the standards that you'd expect from McLaren, and it's fun, first of all, and like has a good user experience. So it's something we're interested in. It's something we want to do, but I can't attach a time frame or anything like that to it yet, because
It's a big job.
It's a big job, and there's still details to be worked out around it.
For sure. What's your long-term vision for the McLaren Racing Collective? Like, where is this all headed in your mind?
So one of the things that I really want to push forward is bringing a more like interactive virtual spaces element to this. So like I was saying earlier, Formula One suffers from like physical constraints, because we're not like a football team or a basketball team that has a big arena, and we don't own our own racetracks. No Formula One team owns their own racetracks. We've got like a tiny garage that's full of hot metal and car parts flying around. So, and we can fit like 7 fans in there or whatever. So I want us to bring out like a virtual space where we can bring fans. We could have like a more engaging virtual watch along. People can explore and like interact with our brand a bit more. And then hopefully bring some like token gated experiences to that as well, where our collectors can unlock additional things that they can do, because that's a way for us to provide like more digital utility to the community at scale.
So it sounds like you have a lot of ideas for this. And I'm curious if McLaren contacted you today and said, okay, you have carte blanche, you can do anything you want for the next bit for McLaren Racing Collective. What would it be? What would be your choice of the next thing to roll out?
If I had full carte blanche, yeah, it would be virtual spaces. And also like just on a personal level, I used to have a clothing brand. So I would love to do some like special bespoke McLaren merch, some really cool clothing, like only available to token holders, maybe accessed like through the shop, through a virtual boutique or something. If I had carte blanche, that would be something really cool.
Interesting. What's next for Max Wolfe and the McLaren Racing Collective? Do you have any other exciting rollouts or projects in the works?
Yeah, so really full focus is on McLaren Moments right now. That's coming out next week. As I said, we have ongoing 23 of 23 program. And then later in the year, look out for us. As I said, we want to dabble a bit in the art space, working with some people in the Tezos art ecosystem. So I'm going to try and do something that people maybe haven't seen before in terms of like a Formula One, or even just more broadly, like a sports token project in the art world. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. But I can't give away all my surprises yet.
We had another audience queue come through. Kit Christian Briones Jorvina asks, is there still an option to claim the 23 of 23 McLaren Racing digital collectibles?
Yes. So this goes for not just number 1, but all of the previously released collectibles from 23 of 23. Once that race weekend is over, you can't claim them anymore, but you can buy them on the secondary market at object.com. There's our official like 23 of 23 collection page, and they're not expensive. They're like a fraction of a Tez, and there's pretty good supply because they were free to claim. There's a lot of them on the market. So yeah, I encourage you, if you want to complete your collection, head to object.com, and yeah, you'll be able to do it there.
Yes, and as you said, they're very reasonable on there. It's well below $1 to claim one if you're interested in collecting them all.
Exactly.
No, it won't. We're coming to the end here. Before we close off, I'm going to announce the winner of the autographed McLaren hat we're giving away today. Today's winner is Kit Christian Jorvina. Kit Christian Briones Jorvina. That's quite the long name you've got there. And congratulations on your new hat.
Congratulations.
To claim your prize, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. Request a screenshot for verification that you're the account owner and get your shiny new McLaren hat over to you just as quick as we can. For those who missed out today, we remind you that there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live stream, so keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, or social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks, and we'd love to hear from you. Max, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks bringing big international brands like McLaren Racing into the ecosystem and keeping Tezos at the forefront of the Web3 revolution. Is there anything else you'd like to mention / plug before we sign off here?
Nothing I haven't said before. Come hang out with us on Discord, discord.gg/McLaren. Check out our release next week, collectibles.mclaren.com. And support us on the track as well.
Fabulous. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Max Wolfe, Senior Manager of Web3 and Digital Licensing at McLaren Racing.
Thanks so much for having me again.
Yeah, anytime, man. Now let's go get racing.